Hey everyone! Really excited. We have a double feature today. So this morning stream, we're going to be looking at Terry Dicus's full August 15th, 2025 testimony at the post-conviction hearings. We had watched like a 25-minute clip from Law and Crime, but shout out to Trial and Error Podcast. They've uploaded 2 hours and 15 minutes. So just like with some other witnesses, we're going to hear more than what we originally heard. So really excited for that. Right before we get into it, though, it's been 1 year, a very important 1-year date from the end, I'll put air quotes, of a historical trial. And I think we just got to take 4 or 5 minutes. Let's remember this moment here. Let's remember this moment. Shout out to all my YSL trial watching family that we met along the way.
All right, good morning, everybody. We have a verdict. We have 2 verdicts. And I do not want there to be any kind of disruption or disturbance in court, regardless of what this verdict is. So, can we get the jury out, please?
All rise for the jury. Pause here, President accounted for.
All right, thank you very much. All right,
The chair squeak.
ladies and gentlemen, I understand that you all have reached a verdict. Mr. Foreperson, is that correct? All right, and was it unanimous? All right, and this verdict has been filled in and signed and dated by you, correct? Oh, for each defendant. All right, and I noticed that Mr. Kendrick's verdict form is dated December 2nd. Is that because that's when you all reached the verdict with regard to him? Okay, and then Mr. Stillwell's is dated today. Okay. All right, Mr. Kendrick, you have been found not guilty on all charges. Mr. Stillwell, can you please stand? You have been found guilty on count 64, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and not guilty on every other charge.
Look at Max. Shout out to bots. Kokomo, relieved.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are officially released from further service, and I cannot express the degree of thanks that Fulton County owes you for your service.
For like the million days that you served for like a $25 stipend every day. So what a moment that was. Just felt like we had to run that back real quick. Another honorable Doug. We love this Doug as well. We've been hearing a lot of amazing arguments and advocacy from Doug Bates this week. Doug Bates the fourth, more specifically. But also shout out to Doug Weinstein. But what a moment this was. And I love that Whitaker just sped through the reading. She's like, not guilty on everything, yak. Shannon, you got like a possession charge, but everything else you're good. So good times all around. Uncivil Law, good to see you. You guys make sure you check out Uncivil Law. I'll drop his link in a second in the chat. One of my favorite for SCOTUS reactions and interpretations. Says, I almost forgot about YSL. I am just happy that trial, which seemed like it would go on forever, came to an end. Yeah, and I think it came to an end when it did because we had the plea deal palooza after we had Mooney Lee on the stand. Slime Life Shorty Reid prompted to read. He's like, should I read the next part? And prosecutor Simone Hilton's like, yeah, keep reading. And he's like, free Quay. So, Your Honor, I have a motion. So that's what we had initiate that plea deal where we went down to 2 defendants remaining that took it all the way to the verdict. And remember, Doug Weinstein, the only attorney that secured a complete not guilty verdict. So let's give him his props. Shout out to Max Shart. Shout out to all the attorneys. I'm not sure if the YSL jurors have been doing all that much on YouTube. I remember one of the jurors, and I wish I can remember what number, did Cooking with Kayla, and attorney Kayla Bumpus, and Shannon Stillwell, just did a video looking back at their favorite moments. I think it was moments picked by SB. So very cool. They just did that stream like 2 days ago. So I've got some links to drop in the chat. But back to our regularly scheduled program. Again, we're going to be watching the post-conviction hearing. These are the evidentiary hearings. This was still when the defense was presenting their evidence for their petition for post-conviction relief, their motion for a new trial. This is from August 15th, 2025. And again, we're watching 2 hours and 15 minutes uploaded now by Trial and Error Podcast, so shout out to them. We'd previously watched a 25-minute clip that Law and Crime had uploaded, but it wasn't complete. So we're going to be looking at the wonderful Dr. Katie Spirko and Dana McClendon III. Surprise, I'm working on doing a collab, maybe more than one, with Dana McClendon. I'm thrilled. I'm super excited. I hope we get to answer and fill in some gaps, some questions that I have that you guys have. Going to be talking a little bit, I think, about Janet Britt. And we read some of those motions the other day in Deep Dive Part 7, where the state's accusing Dr. Katie Spirko of threatening Janet Britt. Well, we might get to hear what actually was going on, what that conversation sounded like, and we can see for ourselves. I might take Dana McClendon up on his offer to show us what it would take for the state's theory to actually be possible. So whatever you guys have as ideas or questions, start marinating on that. Start marinating on that, because it's going to be a good time. And if you want, I will ask Dana McClendon, I didn't know this was him until you guys pointed it out, where Janet Britt fits on the hot crazy matrix. But this is the hot crazy matrix guy, which I really didn't know. I didn't believe you guys when you said it. But with that being said, let's get into, I'm going to drop a bunch of links in the chat to all of the stuff we talked about. Wanted to also give a shout out here to Take It to Trial. Gwen Garnett mentioned that, I think it's Trinity Pogue is the name of the girl, but it is being called like the pageant murder trial, beauty queen murder trial. You know, Law and Crime and Court TV always have these kitschy names that they come up with. But Take It to Trial is streaming that trial as well. And it's a story where this woman is accused of killing an 18-month-old child, not her own, but the guy she's dating's child. So really sad story all around. No clue what her defense is, but I do know that that trial just started. So thanks, Gwennon, for pointing out the Take It to Trial's got it going. So here we go.
All right.
Oh, and this is quiet. Here we don't go. Let's boost this. Let's boost this down a little bit.
Space. You ready for our next witness?
I am, Your Honor. Terry Dicus.
Terry Dicus, please, sir. Who's Dicus? You'll just turn right here, be sworn in.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat, pull up the microphone.
Yes, sir. State your name, please, sir.
Terry Dicus.
And Mr. Dicus, you testified at the trial in 2017 of Zach Adams.
That is correct.
And was everything you said in that trial true?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
I'm going to ask you some questions. In 2011, you were a TBI agent, correct?
That is correct.
And how long had you been in law enforcement?
I was in law enforcement total about 14 and a half years.
Okay. And at some point, you obtained a law degree?
Yes, sir.
And when did you obtain a law degree?
I graduated in 2009.
Okay. Passed the bar?
Yes, sir.
Did you continue to work with TBI?
I did. About 3 or 4 years after I passed the bar.
Why didn't you become a lawyer immediately?
I really didn't have an intention to practice law. I got it to help me in a law enforcement career.
What was your official job title on April 13th, 2011?
I was a special agent criminal investigator assigned to Hardin, Decatur, and Benton counties.
And how soon on April 13th, 2011 did you begin working on the Holly Bobo case?
I got the call early that morning. I got to Decatur County sometime between 9:30 and 10 that morning.
Okay. And did you work on that case until when?
For at least 2 years.
Part of your job was to review surveillance videos.
That is correct.
All right. And did y'all come up with a questionnaire form?
We had a questionnaire form when we did the neighborhood canvass, if that's what you're
Okay.
referring to.
Police has been handed the document will mark for identification, we at 89. Is it at 89?
Can you identify this document?
I do not believe this is the document from the neighborhood canvass. This is a document from a canvass we did at a certain intersection to document all the vehicles that were coming through.
Did you create that document?
I don't remember.
Okay. Are you familiar with the document?
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Your Honor, I move to enter this into evidence.
Okay. We'll move it into evidence as Exhibit 89.
And what was the time frame on that, where the surveillance was?
It said 9:05 to, I believe, 9:30.
Okay. And why that time frame?
We knew from cell phone records that Holly's cell phone, where it was at certain times. So if we had a vehicle that came through at that time, potentially they may have seen something that would be relevant to it.
Let's just take a quick detour on cell phone data. Who all was working at the time on trying to recreate cell phone issues of Ms. Bobo?
We had the TBI had its own expert, Mike Frizzell. He was working hard on it. We had U.S. Marshal Johnny Walker was working on cell phone records. There was a lieutenant, I believe he was a lieutenant with the Shelby County Sheriff's Department that assisted on some of the cell phone records. So we had several different agencies that were working on it.
Was there any discrepancy between the different entities working on recreating her cell phone travel?
Not that I recall, no. Some would be more specific than others, but as far as discrepancies, no, I don't remember any discrepancies.
At some point, y'all received surveillance videos from,
Yes, sir.
from the day.
Correct.
And who was in charge of compiling the videos and reviewing them?
That was me. I was in charge of it.
And did you document what you saw?
Yes.
Did
So,
you?
I'm sorry.
Did you have other people document what they saw?
Yes, sir.
All right, just kind of.
The witness has been handed a packet. What's the other?
It begins with IR 144, goes through IR 145 and 146.
In order, 144, 145,
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, we'll mark them, this is gonna be objections to this being entered. So we'll go ahead and enter them as exhibit 90, IR 144 through 146.
And if the document can be labeled and then returned to the witness.
Thank you.
So just kind of orient the court to what we're looking at. Starting with IR 144 and the pages that follow, what are we looking at?
So we obtained surveillance video from many different locations throughout Decatur County, and as an attempt to develop some information that might be useful later, we got in a room. I called several different investigators into a room, and essentially what we did is we went through the surveillance video and described every vehicle that came through, what time they came through, and described the vehicle as best as possible. For if we develop a suspect later on, we will have a vehicle coming through at that time that we can further look at.
And was there a time frame that y'all began and ended on your surveillance?
No, there wasn't.
Can you look through the document? Let's
And what I mean by my answer is that not every surveillance camera had the exact same amount of data.
okay.
We were looking at the morning between the abduction and when her cell phone stopped moving.
All right. So what time frame was that?
So that would have been from around 8 o'clock in the morning until 10:30, 11, 12, whatever we collected at that particular location.
Okay. If you can look through the time frame for IR 144, and do you know whose notes this is?
I do not know all of them. Some of them are not labeled. The ones that I did personally, I wrote my name on them at the top.
Okay. On at least the time frame for IR 144, where does that time frame stop?
Are you talking about on the ones I did, or?
Oh, somebody fell, dropped something.
One stopped at 9:39 and 59 seconds.
Okay.
That's the last one.
And then if you can go to IR 145.
I don't believe I have that, do I?
Keep it, it's in there.
Okay. Okay. These are different IRs. I understand what you're asking. So, IR 144 goes from 8:55 a.m. and ends at 9:41. IR 145, the video begins at 9 o'clock and 22 seconds. It ends at 9:41 and 39 seconds.
And if there were additional time logged, it would have been in your report.
Yes, it should have been.
And so if it's not in your report, was it reviewed by TBI and logged?
Not that I know of. It wasn't reviewed in relation to this,
Okay.
to this investigative activity.
All right, now IR 146.
That's the one I did. It begins at 9 o'clock and 39 seconds.
All right, and the top of the page is surveillance tape notes, Community South Bank.
Community South Bank, correct.
And do you know if you received this on a DVD or a tape?
No, I don't recall. I'm sorry.
Now, if you can go to the first handwritten document,
Yes, sir.
and is that your handwriting?
Yes, sir.
And why did you label it Community South Bank?
That's the name of the business that had the video, I believe.
And Your Honor, we're going to now play Exhibit 8. And it's going to be behind your screen. If you can get to the 9 o'clock time frame. Here, pull it back to you so we can.
Whisper, whisper, whisper.
Okay, Agent Dicus, what we're going to do is we're going to play it and stop it at a certain time. And I'll ask you some questions, okay? And Your Honor, may I approach so I can see the timestamp on this? Go back to... I'll tell you what, I know how we're going to do it. Put it on your screen. Okay. All right, you see it's a freeze frame at minute 9:00:39 seconds.
Yes, sir.
And you see in the far left corner, can you identify that vehicle?
No, I cannot.
All right. If you look on your log, you see an entry for 9:00:39.
Yes, sir. A black F-150 heading northbound.
All right. And do you feel like that was the vehicle you were tracking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to go to minute 9:02:31. And you see, we're now at minute 9:02:31.
Yes, sir.
And do you see a silver four-door sedan?
I do.
And the direction of travel of these vehicles is what?
Northbound.
And we're now just going to play it 2 more seconds forward. At 9:03:33, did you see the third car in your log?
Yes, sir. I logged it as a red two-door Pontiac.
And the notation was at ATM.
Correct.
All right. And you feel confident now, do you, that what you're tracking are these vehicles on this video?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you document anything beyond 9:37 a.m.?
Yes, sir. I believe I did. I believe we had additional videos.
Do you know what times it would have been?
I do not know that, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you, if you look through, let's go to the last IR in your batch, IR 148.
Yeah, I think I said these are 144 to 146. It goes through 148.
148, I apologize.
Exhibit 90 goes to 148.
Okay.
And what time does this end?
9:39:59.
At this point in the May 2011 capturing of documents, is there any time, it seems like this 9:40 time frame is important. Do you remember why?
9:40 was the last attempted ping on Holly's phone, so that might have been
Okay.
one.
And now back to your ATM. The last document in this IR ends at 9:37.
Correct.
And then there's an investigator Inman notes on, do you identify Investigator Inman's handwriting? I apologize. It's on your IR 146.
That does look like his handwriting, and it looks like his signature as well.
Okay. And disc labeled BP, a cameo jacket.
BP, yes, I see that.
Was there a question you didn't answer here?
Do you recognize whose handwriting that was?
Yes, sir. I recognized Investigator Ricky Inman's handwriting.
Okay.
On the one you were.
Now, when y'all were reviewing all of this surveillance videos, was it at your home computer? Was it in an office?
It was at the command center, which was the National Guard Armory.
All right. And this was around the time the IRs were generated.
That's correct.
At any point in time, were you looking for other people beyond who might have had Holly Bobo?
No, not that I know of.
The point of this was what?
The point of this was to identify all the vehicles that were coming through there in case we identified someone we could match at a certain time coming through the area.
And match them with, for what?
Match their vehicles. Since we had so much information about her cellular data that morning, we felt strongly it'd be very beneficial to put somebody at a certain spot to rule them in or rule them out.
Okay. That they either had Holly Bobo or just had her.
That's correct.
All right. Do you ever remember looking at minute 11:12 past the time of this log entry? Do you ever remember looking at that? You can look on the computer screen behind you. You'd stop right there. Do you ever remember seeing that and notating it or finding it important?
Not while I was employed with the TBI. The defense team has showed me this clip since then, so most recently.
Okay. And you're not talking about Miss Thompson, are you?
No.
Do you ever remember Brent
important.
Booth coming to you and saying, by the way, I saw a Silverado at 11:12 a.m.?
No, sir.
Prior to your retirement from TBI, did you ever remember discussing a Silverado several hours later after your journaling ended on this ATM video?
No, sir.
Do you have any idea why the footage that you labeled as a description Community South Bank would have been labeled BP video?
It could have been. I think the BP is in the frame. The MAPCO is on the other side. I can see the gas station, and I can see a Ford sign. There was a Ford dealership across the street, so that could be why, because it's a video of BP. That's a speculation, though.
All right. And did you have anything to do with saying, hey, let's label it BP or anything of that nature?
Not as far as the discovery, when discovery was turned over, no, I didn't.
Right. Do you recognize what type of vehicle this is?
I couldn't be positive as to
Okay.
exactly what type of vehicle it is.
Do you remember looking at any videos like this, of this video day from Community South Bank, any more than the day you logged this?
This particular video?
Yes, sir.
Not that I recall.
Okay. You can take it down. Okay. I want to hit a couple points from your testimony that were not possibly brought out. In your investigation, did you determine if Janet Britt took a pre-scheduled vacation from her work on April 13, 2011?
She did not.
Did you remember meeting with a David Byrd?
I don't recall that name.
Document.
Witness has been handed a document for identification, Exhibit 91. Will there be objections to this entry? Mr. Boyano?
No
Objections to this? We'll go ahead and enter this Exhibit 91.
No, I still don't remember.
Okay.
Dang, who's Mr. Bird?
The
wanna
IR
know.
activity date is February 23rd, and the report date is March 1st. Is that about an average turnaround time on an IR for you then?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this has been moved into evidence. I realize that, but this witness can't identify it. So if it was shown to him to refresh his recollection and hasn't done that, I don't know that it has an evidentiary foundation to be considered evidence in this hearing.
So what's the objection?
It's inadmissible. It's hearsay.
You all, and
The laugh.
you didn't object.
No,
It's
sir.
the IR that was provided in discovery from TBI.
Yes.
Well, then you can impeach it with it.
Yes, sir.
It
Thank
appears
you.
Mr. Dicus drafted this.
Yes, sir.
And
The
We'll mark it
way-
for identification. Exhibit 9.
There's just something that stands out to me when dealing with this judge. And Amy Wyrick just has to be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Compared to what we saw with Judge Creed McKinley and Jennifer Nichols and Paul Hagerman in the 2017 trial. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
this second page, though, there's a waiver of constitutional rights to a search warrant. Can you explain that? Is that your handwriting?
It is.
All right. And do you remember what the purpose of this waiver of constitutional rights to a search warrant was?
Just to make sure if we found any evidence, we could use it later.
Okay. And in relation to either Terry Britt's home or the Bobo's home, do you remember was his home at Fred Emmon Road?
I believe it was closer to the Britt home than it was the Bobo's.
And
Where is this going?
do you remember on March 1st, 2012, submitting a report that said David Byrd added that he observed Terry Britt coming up and down Fred Emmon Road in his white van maybe 4 or 5 times very slowly on the weekend that Holly Bobo was kidnapped? Byrd thought that was strange because he usually only saw Terry drive by maybe once or twice a week. Byrd said that Britt was the #1 suspect in Holly's disappearance as far as anyone in the neighborhood goes.
Yeah, it is very familiar. It is very familiar.
Do you now remember?
Yeah, I believe I do.
Okay.
I believe I do.
Your Honor, I now move to convert
We're
this.
moving it into evidence. It's been 13 years. Dicus, is that your signature on this waiver?
Yes, sir, that's all my
Moving
handwriting.
it into evidence, exhibit 91. I don't know.
So no David Byrd at trial. Another thing the trial jury didn't
To be
see or
clear,
know of.
You had heard the Britt say Terry and Janet were together the whole day,
Multiple times.
and you went through the cell records to determine that was not true.
I can't wait to collab with Dana. It's going to be a great time because we're going to learn more about Janet. We're going to learn more about Janet.
That's correct.
You, let me ask this. When did, from your work, did Terry Britt become the primary suspect?
Probably about 4 months into it, 4 months after the kidnapping.
August timeframe?
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, why did it take until January for the wiretap in this case?
Well, from August to January, we wanted to make sure we knew everything we could find out before then, so we didn't rush it. And up until August, because his wife was his alibi. His wife provided an alibi for him that if it were true, he couldn't have been the abductor.
Did you ever talk to Janet Britt about her husband's involvement in Tequila Jones?
Yes.
Did she deny he did anything criminally wrong?
Objection, hearsay.
It's not offered for the truth of the, her denial is not offered for the truth. Janet Britt's denial is not offered for the truth.
I think it is, that it's to whether or not the statement was, actually that happened. So I think that is.
No, it's how they proceeded with the
absolutely- a denial
investigation.
is offered for the truth of asserted at times.
All right, Mr. Banks, I'm gonna let him answer the question.
She said,
Like, we literally have an investigator on the stand telling us why the way they were pursuing this investigation proceeded the way it did, and yet we're getting the state making these objections to hearsay. When if it was the other way around, they would have been like, it's not for the truth of the matter asserted, it's just to say what he did next.
Mr. Britt did not do anything wrong. She never admitted that he ever did anything wrong. She told me that he never drove anywhere because he had a suspended license. I had video of him driving, pictures of him driving, but she still would not even admit that he drove on a suspended license, so she never said he did anything wrong.
Did you participate in listening to the wiretap?
Yes, sir.
And both in the telephone and the audio microphone, for lack of a better word?
Yes, sir.
And did you participate in the search warrant on Mr. Britt's home as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember seeing cameras installed on Mr. Britt's?
I do.
Did y'all get those?
Didn't he have his
I don't
own
believe
cameras?
we did. I don't believe we did.
Were they discussed, like, hey, there's camera footage maybe we need to get?
We definitely took all of anything that could have recorded anything. But as far as the actual camera, I don't know that we took those, but we did take all the computers, anything that could have recorded surveillance video on. We obviously took that.
Your Honor, I'm going to play a recording that was from January 20th at 12:51.
Has it already been entered?
It has not been, Your Honor.
Is this part of the wiretap?
Yes, Your Honor.
Give me the date again.
The date is January 20th, 2012.
Objection to this entry.
No, Your Honor.
me something. I just finished
The
eating
chili.
my chili. Well, most of it.
You recognize those two voices?
Yes, sir.
Who were they?
Janet Britt and Terry Britt.
Hello?
Hello, miss.
It's a text I just sent you. I have a thought, I just sent it.
He said, yeah, okay, I just saw something too. He said human flesh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that could be any kind of flesh.
Crazy.
That could be a running meat, blood. We've all lost property, don't we?
He said they can tell the difference. I mentioned that too. He said they could tell the difference. It's a human on them.
Well, then somebody else put some fucking human in that motherfucker, cause I ain't really.
Well, what about when you're doing work and you, hit your knuckle or something and you wipe it on the carpet or, you know, I mean,
Well,
I don't know if it's bad or not, or something like that. If I don't know if it's something like that, we do the same thing or not.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to put.
I have no idea. I just know we haven't put anything in there. Has anything been put in there some week ago? That's all I know.
Just weird. Like,
You
what?
know, I've said it all along, it's wrong, them some bitches that get mad because they can't solve a case and go try and cost somebody else money and cause all kind of problems just because they can do that.
I agree. I totally agree.
All right, we need a
Well-
sound boost.
They ain't been no fucking human flesh.
All right, we have a request for a sound boost. So just to give you some warning, if you already have it loud on your end, we're going to bump it up a little bit here. And run it back 5 seconds in case we missed anything. Let me know if this is better.
Well, they ain't been no fucking human flesh, that old red van.
How many vans were found on the Britt's property?
3.
Do you remember in your investigation talking with Miss Karen Bobo about the Bobo's knowledge, I'm sorry, Janet Britt's knowledge of the Bobo family?
No, sir.
We just been handed a document, we didn't mark that audio file and just mine too, right?
I believe so, Your Honor. And I stopped playing at, I believe, minute 2:18.
Thank you.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that document you created?
Yes, sir.
And any reason to doubt the information you received that put into that document?
No, sir. I specifically remember this now.
Okay.
I remember her telling me that.
And, Your
Basi-
Honor, I would ask the witness to read this knowing there will be a hearsay objection, and I'm asking the court, it's for the purpose of what Jennifer Thompson should have brought out at the trial.
I mean, I would object as he, to hearsay, that I understand that what he's saying is this goes to the to make its claim on PCR, but that still doesn't satisfy the rules of evidence, is that it's fundamentally a hearsay statement. So I think either exception applies or it's unreasonable.
So your request is for the purpose of what Mr. Dicus could have testified to?
No.
Or some other witness?
What some other witness could have testified to.
I'm going to allow the question. Objection overruled. We'll move it into evidence as Exhibit 93. Go ahead, Mr. Bates.
This is like the non-mockery version of, is it Futurama where they have the judge? It's like, I'll allow it. But it's like the opposite.
Yes, Your Honor. On April 30th, 2012, at approximately 3 p.m., Karen Bobo contacted S.A. Dicus on his cell phone. Bobo stated that she remembered one thing that was odd about dealing with Janet Britt at Joe's Video when she worked there. Karen stated that every time that any of the Bobos would come into the store, that Jan knew their account number by memory. She said that Jan knew their account number was 180, and she never had to look it up for any of them. Jan also never required them to have a credit card on file in case the videos were not returned. Karen stated that Jan had known Clint and Holly their entire life.
All right, I want to talk about some of the work you did and the wiretap was 2012.
Correct.
From August of 2011 forward, you believe Terry Britt was the prime suspect.
Correct.
And you have been attacked about not following up on alibis and various information regarding the 4 or the 3 eventual defendants in this case.
During the trial, yes.
All right. Did you rule them out?
So we have Janet Britt. Let me just put Janet on the screen. Good old Jan. We have Janet Britt remembering the Bobo's account numbers. Doesn't need to store their payment methods or whatever. Would forgive them if they're late, which maybe that's something she did to a lot of customers, or maybe it's something she did to build rapport and get on the good side of customers she favored. Janet Britt, and keep your calendars pinned. I'm going to work something out with Dana for a date to go over this, but in 2023, I think early December 2023, Janet still knows this account number. It's like 180 or something. Still knows the account number. And yet she's going to come up with some excuse about why they have this composition binder. To me, it sounds like one of those zipped up type binders sitting in their shed that had the lock on it that TBI ends up breaking through, with highlighted names of different young blonde girls clipped from the newspaper that Jan worked out. She's going to say, oh, that was nothing. I just don't like to waste. So I used to take home scrap papers from the newspaper company. You got this weird composition binder. You know these people's account numbers by heart. Probably not something you're doing for everybody, but it's something you're doing specifically for young blonde girls with blue eyes. Very, very, very weird. Anyway, let me get Jan off the screen. And good to see you, Trial and Error Podcast.
Yes.
What made you rule them out?
There were several reasons. Again, like I said, we had Holly's cell phone. So if at any point we could put one of these 4 individuals at a spot other than where they were, then logically they were not the kidnapper. We also had a witness who got a good look of the abductor. He listened to the abductor and his sister speak. None of these 4 fit the physical description of the abductor, with the exception that Shane Austin was similar in build, but he had bright orange hair, red hair. He did not have a deep, raspy smoker's voice, somebody that had smoked for 20 years. So that didn't fit. There were, and plus we used a polygraph.
Strike that.
Objecting.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was in May, there was a motion in limine filed by the state. One of the three that we heard argued at those hearings, and the judge ended up ruling that for the purpose of these proceedings, anything about voice stress testing and polygraph results cannot come in for the purpose of these evidentiary hearings. So.
Objection sustained.
Sorry.
That's fine.
But Shane
Let me
passed 2
ask you this.
polygraphs.
Did you ever believe Clint Bobo was lying to you?
I had reservations about what he was telling me on the first day. But those reservations ended when we got back all the phone data and we confirmed that Clint was there at like 8:10 in the morning. A deputy was talking to him while Holly's cell phone was still going throughout the county for another over an hour. So when I put all that together, I would say within 24 hours, he was ruled out in my mind as being as telling a lie about what happened to his sister.
When did the route that Holly's took, when did that become crystallized in your investigation?
The first one to really hammer it down was U.S. Marshal John Walker. They look for fugitives, and they do a lot of work with cell phone tracking. So what Marshal Walker did was he drove the possible routes, and he would drive on one road, and he also went with an AT&T engineer that had Holly's exact cell phone, so to tell which tower she would be at this particular location. So when that was completed, the route of the cell phone was known to a very substantial degree. There's certain roads they had to have taken, and minor differences were roads, other roads they may have taken, but the general direction and where she went is almost only one possibility, to put her cell phone at different locations.
Can the witness be handed Exhibit 4? I apologize, Exhibit 5.
I have it.
Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir. This is a map listing all the areas where we know our cell phone had to travel to have certain pings, certain communication events.
And I've done my best on Exhibit 15 to, on the purple notes, recreate the home here on the bottom left, the residence, the times of 8:11 on Tower 12, 5:31, and no significant movement from 8:26 to 8:56. Close to on the tower where her remains were found, 9:02, 31,523, 9:10, 31,522, 9:25, 12,573. Was there ever any evidence of Miss Holly's thrown out between her residence and where there was no significant activity where her remains were found?
No, sir, we never documented any.
What importance is that?
Well, when Holly was abducted, and her abductor more than likely was trying to calm her down, trying to get control of her, and trying to let her know everything's going to be okay. So if he had been throwing out her property prior to getting to the location of whatever he intended on doing with her, I would imagine that would have caused her to panic and realize, something horrible.
And if there's no activity for 30 minutes, her cell phone's not moving, where her remains were found, and evidence is thrown out along a journey that ends at Gooch Creek at 9:25, is that important?
I believe so. I believe so.
During your time, had the remains been found up here on a 10961 tower? Had the remains been found?
No,
You had left TBI.
that's correct.
Were you aware a .380 round was found next to her remains?
I believe I heard that after the fact, yes.
All right. At one point, do you know who Frank Kelsey is?
I do.
And who is it?
Frank Kelsey, I worked with him at the Jackson Police Department, and he worked for the TBI for a while, and then last I heard he was with the ATF.
Okay. Did he participate in this case?
Very little, if at all, yeah. But let me ask this. At some point, you had the Mr. Adams, Mr. Autry, Mr. Austin's cell phone records. yes, sir.
And did that indicate to you they were involved in this crime?
No, sir.
Did you ever have a conversation with then Assistant District Attorney Beth Boswell?
Yes, sir.
And what was her response? I'm sorry, about this cell phone issue.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Not sure what the purpose of the answer is, but,
First, he hadn't said if he had a conversation or not. If they can just,
I'll sustain it and let you
okay.
start over.
Did you, not disclosing any contents, did you have a conversation with Miss Boswell, then General Boswell, about the Zach Adams, Jason Autry's cell phone activity?
While I was with the TBI, I don't recall that. I don't recall that they ever got to the level of we need to speak to prosecutors about their potential involvement.
Okay. Identify document, we mark for identification next.
I have a document we'll mark for identification with the 94.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And I didn't receive a dated copy. Do you know when it was created in relation to this investigation?
It would have been created in September or October of 2012.
Okay. Was in 2012, let's stop here. Toward the end of 2012, had a rift developed within TBI about who the primary suspect should be?
I wouldn't say a rift about who the primary suspect should be, but a rift about whether Britt was involved in this crime or not. The other people, as you can read this document and see, it takes just a few minutes to read it and understand that they were not, at that time, legitimate suspects.
Did you participate in the investigation of Without Warning?
No, I'm familiar with them, though.
All right. Were you still on the case when they were involved?
I believe so.
And what was their place in this?
I believe they were contacted by the family.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation. He said he didn't participate in it. He's familiar with it, but he did not participate in
All right,
it.
the objection is called for speculation.
It's part of his investigation, and he says he's familiar with what took place between Without Warning and the family.
Maybe I misunderstood. I thought he just testified that he did not participate in whoever or whatever Without Warning is.
He did not participate in Without Warning's investigation.
But-
And then he said, I believe.
Correct.
Which sounds to me like it's called for hearsay. So the way the question was phrased, I'll
Fair
sustain the
enough.
objection.
Let me ask, are you aware of Without Warning's involvement helping the Bobo family?
Yes.
And what's the basis of your awareness?
I was told that by Miss Bobo.
Objection, Your Honor, to what
Did
he
you
was
tell
told.
him what she's saying? He said he was told that by me.
Yeah.
By Miss Bobo?
By Miss Bobo. And I believe I spoke to them as well, and they relayed information to me.
Okay. Did they communicate to you what they were doing?
No, they communicated to me who they had developed as suspects and information they thought needed further
All right.
detail.
Approximately when was that?
It may have been around this time. It may have been around September of 2012.
At this point, well, Your Honor, if I can make this convert into evidence.
Well, is it an IR?
No, sir.
I'd mark it for, well, let me ask more questions on it.
Okay, I'll let you ask some more questions. Right now, it's for identification.
But-
Exhibit 94.
The state just answered a question I've had for several months. Was this document created as part of this investigation?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any reason to know why it was not converted to an IR?
No, sir. It has all the markings of what would be an IR.
And Agent John R. Mayer,
Mayor? Yes,
Mayor?
sir. Yes, sir.
How long was he involved in the Bobo case?
From the beginning, probably a year and a half, and then he retired.
Do you remember discussing this document with other law enforcement or prosecutors?
I do not.
Was it your understanding this was going to be converted to an IR?
Yes, sir. It should have been. It should have been an IR. I'm not sure why it wasn't. It was submitted as an IR.
Your Honor, I move to mark this into evidence.
This is something that we heard in the 25-minute we were able to watch of this, and it stands out to me so strongly that there's something that was submitted, but somehow doesn't actually make it as, I don't know, like a published and official IR, investigative report. How do you reconcile that with also we have a file name change on the BP ATM surveillance video to remove the keywords from the file name title so it just says BP? Like, these things all seem like a purposeful hand is moving to constrain the course of the investigation and keep it going towards one path. Maybe not even towards a specific path, but at least away from a particular path. So I don't know, this IR part, like, we're used to watching trials, and again, 1-year anniversary of the YSL trial verdict, where the moniker, the phrase, "where are your reports?" is like a meme at this point, because the investigators don't want to report, don't want to document, don't want to take notes. And here on the flip side, total spin, Terry Dicus is trying to document things. I have no idea why it didn't actually make it in as an IR, but here's how it was written out. It was here. I have it. It's just crazy.
Well, I'm gonna let you do a little more about authentication. I didn't hear anything about who created this.
Okay.
I'll let you ask some more questions.
Okay. Let's take this is not in a format we usually have of IRs.
Only in that it does not have an IR number at the top and a indication at the bottom of who wrote it and put it in the system.
Okay. Do you know who wrote this?
I wrote this, yes.
And who's in charge of, is there someone who's in charge of approving an IR?
Yes, the special agent in charge or the assistant special agent in charge.
Okay. Is there any reason in your mind, to your memory, why this?
Well, and I'll rewind it so we don't miss the context, but good question here from Iceman. Was Jen Thompson not allowed to depose Jason Autry before he gave his testimony? I always wondered that. Now, you know, witnesses don't have to agree to be interviewed, especially if there's no court order ordering as such. Additionally, Jason Autry was a co-defendant, right? So there's a lot of reasons why a co-defendant in a trial wouldn't want to sit and be interviewed by counsel for one of their co-defendants that may have a conflicting theory, or, you know, if I'm getting leniency because I'm going to testify against the other person. There's tons of reasons why Jason Autry, and probably at the guidance of his counsel, wouldn't want to agree to do such a thing, and that's okay. A separate issue is during the proffer session. So Jason Autry, his attorneys, they all meet with the state, they have this proffer session, and they go over everything that they're going to say in exchange, undoubtedly, for some type of expectation of leniency in the future. You don't just proffer for no reason at all. Well, the state takes no notes. And that's getting into Brady Giglio issues, where if there's some type of offer of leniency, some type of conversation where it could be even implied, you're supposed to disclose the material contents, the substantive contents of those things to the other defendants, defense counsel. And they just don't take any notes. So with any type of deposition or interview, it's a separate issue. But if we look over to the issues with the proffer, that was a major issue. And Jennifer Thompson, I do think she fought on that. She raised the issue in court, like, Your Honor, please let me go into, you know, what he was facing, what was going on with his federal case, because I didn't have time. I didn't have notes from this proffer to know what to expect from Jason Autry today. Meanwhile, Jason Autry was called out of order a bit unexpectedly for Jennifer Thompson, and then they made her cross him until 7:30 p.m. Typically, any other courtroom, unless the parties agree to go late and the jury agrees to go late, pushing it to 6 is crazy. So there was no break for Jennifer Thompson to go and prepare for what she had heard on direct testimony. So I think that was a intentional and slick strategy play by the state. That's just me.
Was not approved.
I have no idea. No, I don't know.
When you submitted it, did you think it was going to be approved?
I don't recall specifically what I thought back then.
Okay.
I wrote it to be an IR, to be an investigative report. That's the reason why I wrote it in this format. So I don't know.
Is this in draft form? Let me ask you a better question. When you create an IR, is it a boilerplate form, or is it a Microsoft Word document or some similar document?
Right. So it would be a Microsoft document that we submit, and we submit it to our secretary, who would then format it, put it at the top. Now, some agents would go in individually and submit their own cases into the system. I never did that. So we would submit it to the case file, and it would generate an IR number, and it would basically be on we would turn in a disk. We were using floppy disk back then. We turn in a floppy disk and a sheet that says what each one should be, and then they would go on to the file, pull it up, and then put it into the system. Copy, drag, something like that.
Okay. Is it something that agents follow up on once they submit it to the secretary?
Generally, no. I wouldn't think so.
But you type this?
I typed this, yes.
And on the top paragraph, I believe it says cell tower information for April 13th, 2012. Did you mean 2012 or the year of the abduction?
Yes, it would have been 2011.
You have any information as to why this was not converted to an IR?
I really don't. I don't recall.
Your Honor, it's my best effort to try to convert it.
He's authenticated. I'm going to allow it. Exhibit 94.
We've heard that you failed to validate Jason Autry's alibi for April 13th, 2011. Do you remember having conversations with TBI about that?
No, I remember speaking to the man he was working for on a farm in Benton County that morning, who said he was in Benton County that morning. So, I don't...
Joe Walker ever come to you and say he wasn't working there?
I don't recall him ever saying that. If he did, I don't recall it.
Who is Special Agent Jack VanHooser?
He was my assistant special agent in charge when this case first started, and then he was promoted to special agent in charge after SAC mayor retired.
And do you remember him sending information to the Bobo family about his feelings about Clint Bobo?
Yes, I remember him saying something to the Bobo family about that. Yeah. And
your next document IR 534.
Mark it for identification.
Your Honor, if I can have that document back from the witness, please. I'm, by agreement, I'm redacting a certain part of this at the bottom paragraph. In the second paragraph, the entire paragraph.
What sentences in the last paragraph?
After the last paragraph, after the comma in story, until the comma before it was crucial. Do you remember this IR being entered in the system?
I remember this IR, yes, sir.
And did you agree with this approach?
No.
Did you believe at any time that Clint Bobo had given the perpetrator a, quote, get out of jail free card?
No. I believe Clint Bobo did everything he could possibly do to help us prosecute Holly's kidnapper.
Your Honor, I move to enter this as the next numbered exhibit.
Objection.
No objections other than we make sure that the redactions are on it, the relevant.
Exhibit 95, we'll move it in.
IR 534 is in October of 2012. At what point can you nail in when the PowerPoint was?
I would say before October 2012.
Okay. And if the witness can be handed what was marked for identification 21. You can review that. Document. Have you ever looked at this document before?
I'm sure I have, but I don't recall.
You just had no awareness of it.
That's correct. It's not signed. It's got the letterhead of the TBI, but no one signed it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who wrote it.
The Jack VanHooser, did he ever talk to you about a man named Dennis Benjamin?
Yes.
Did you ever meet with Dennis Benjamin?
Not that I recall. I believe I spoke to him over the phone.
In his capacity working in this case?
No, I believe what he did in the case was after I'd left.
Okay. Did you talk with him after you had left?
No, sir. Not that I recall.
All right.
You know, I don't know if I'm like having like the grocery shelf overload where there's just so much information that I'm taking in the last 2 weeks that stuff's starting to fall off the shelf to make room for new info. But I think it's a pretty significant timeline detail that Terry Dicus is gone before they bring Dennis Benjamin in.
Just put a finishing touch on how you left this case. The PowerPoint is in the fall of 2012.
I believe that's correct.
And you stayed on until when?
Probably, I would say May of 2013. May or June, somewhere in there.
When were you told to stop focusing on Terry Britt?
It was suggested immediately, shortly thereafter, after the PowerPoint. It was suggested after the PowerPoint. It was told specifically after the last interview with Clint.
Let's come back to the last interview with Clint. When, to your memory, was Terry Britt incarcerated, either pre-trial or pre-hearing or post-plea for the Tequila Jones case?
Putting a date on it would be difficult. I believe it was, I would be guessing.
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
At some point, you sent Johnny Walker to go talk to him in jail.
Yes, sir.
And when was that? Remember?
That was toward the end of my involvement in it.
And had you been told to stop? I mean, you've been asked to stop focusing on Mr. Britt.
In a roundabout way, nobody specifically had told me, do not do anything else with Britt at that point. It was obviously not going to change the needle or do anything else. But specifically, I was not told, do not mess with Britt.
And
This is very interesting because we're watching this on the heels of the 2017 testimony rewatch of Terry Dicus. And I think Kay Riggs, thank you for suggesting, don't just dive into the full post-conviction relief. Wait till you do the testimony from the trial for Terry Dicus. And in court, the state was arguing to him on cross-examination, and you were already removed, you weren't authorized, you weren't supposed to be doing all of this. This paints a little bit of a different picture than what the state was painting during the 2017 trial.
why did you send Marshall Walker in to talk to Mr. Britt?
To see if he, what he could find out from him, what his take was on him,
Had he already pled out in the Tequila Jones case?
I believe he had, yes.
Were there any other charges he was serving?
He had other charges pending from a firearms from 8 or 9 years before.
Okay. And what was that? Was that in federal or state court?
It was in federal court.
Do you remember who the prosecuting attorney was?
It may have been Beth Boswell. I'm not positive of that, but I think it was. I wasn't involved in that prosecution to avoid appearance.
Was there any recording of the conversation with Mr. Britt and Agent Walker, Marshall Walker?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And when that happened, did anybody, TBI prosecutors, congratulate you on getting Mr. Britt to say what he said?
No, sir.
What, in your opinion, got you off the Holly Bobo case?
It was absolutely the last interview with Clint Bobo. As you see from this, there was a dichotomy of two different sets of people. Some absolutely believed Clint Bobo was lying, and the only way his sister killer could be brought to justice is if he quit lying. But others believed that Clint Bobo was telling the truth, and he perfectly described the person that kidnapped her. So toward the end of my investigation, Mr. VanHooser decided that we were going to get to the bottom of, Clint Bobo. We were going to perform the full Reid technique with him. We were going to make him either lawyer up or confess. And if he lawyered up, we would have been done with the case. But if he, confessed, we would have been done with the case too. So myself and an agent from East Tennessee were chosen to go interview Clint at the Sheriff's Department. So we started the interview very broadly. Tell us everything you remember about that day. So Clint tells the same story he's been telling me for 2 years. Goes through the same details. He's laying all this out. And this agent from East Tennessee had not been involved from the very beginning, like most of us had been. So I let him do all the talking. He did most of the talking. And then we take the break. So the Reid technique, you let them talk as long as you want to in a non-confrontational manner. Then you take a break, and then you go back in. You throw your case file against the wall and say, we know you're lying. That's it. Tell us the truth. It's over with. It's done today. So when we take the break, I go out and I ask Agent, what do you think? He said, man, I think he's telling the truth. I mean, I could tell.
Judge, objection, hearsay.
Not for the truth.
Hold it. Was that Amy Wyrick saying, Boyano, object?
I think he's telling the truth. I mean, I could tell.
Judge, objection, hearsay.
Not for the truth.
For what purpose?
It's setting up what he's about to say.
That's not a valid hearsay objection.
Well, if it's not for
But
the truth of the matter asserted,
It's just part of the story.
I'm going to allow the question. Objection overruled.
Yeah. So I could tell that he was.
So don't forget, Terry Dicus is an attorney now, and as soon as a judge overrules this objection, Dicus is like, yeah.
Objection overruled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could tell that he was upset about what we were fixing to do. And, I asked him, what do you think? He's like, man, I believe him. I believe Clint. I think he's telling the truth. I said, well, let me tell you about this suspect, this other suspect. And I told him about Terry Britt. I told him about what John Walker had, the information he had received from Terry Britt when he interviewed him about him willing to plead guilty if he could get him a deal for 20 years. Then he came back in, and we didn't do the second stage of the Reid technique. We didn't, I was taken off because I didn't want Clint to have to go through that again. People had told Clint Bobo that his sister was being raped because he was lying. People had told him that, and they were congratulated for telling him that. So, yeah, I was taken off, but I was taken off because I didn't want Clint Bobo to have to go through that second part. That's the whole reason.
How soon after that did you resign from TBI?
The next morning, I was at the TBI headquarters being interviewed by a special agent in charge from Middle Tennessee. And I was taken off the case that day, and I resigned within 3 months.
You had any plan to resign from TBI even though you had a law license?
Not prior to this case. I can't say that I wouldn't have, but I didn't plan on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Frost.
Good morning, Mr. Dicus. My name's Chris Boyan. I'm Assistant District Attorney, and I have some questions for you.
Good morning, sir.
What date were you taken off the Holly Bobo case?
And yeah, I agree. These post-conviction relief hearings are just a rare look into how the sausage is made. And there's so many moments where something feels sickening or gross or icky or wrong. And we're going to watch Jack VanHooser's testimony at the 2017 trial later when we do the day 9 stream. But yeah, I want to know more about VanHooser too, because his name keeps popping on up.
I can't tell you the day. I can tell you it was in 2013. If I believe around May of 2013.
Okay. And who removed you from this case?
Special Agent Jack VanHooser.
Okay. And is it true that the reason given for taking up the case was your fixation on Terry Britt?
No. The official reason that they gave me was that I had become too emotionally involved in the case. I had become too close to the Bobo family, too involved in it. That was what they told me.
Okay. So you're removed from the case, and how... Yeah, you had that PowerPoint
That
meeting.
maths.
Yes,
And let's talk about that. Who was in the room at the PowerPoint meeting?
Beth Boswell, Special Agent Jack VanHooser, Investigator Ricky Inman from the Decatur County Sheriff's Department, possibly Joe Walker. I'm not sure if Kathy Ferguson was there. It was a pretty good full room.
Was Hansel McAdams there?
Yes, Hansel McAdams was there.
And in fact, the meeting had started off with you approaching Hansel McAdams to talk to him personally about the case. Is that right?
Who are they going to call Hansel in their
I'm not
case?
sure it started that way, but
Did you approach Hansel McAdams to talk to him? And who is Hansel McAdams at this time?
he was the head district attorney general.
And is it normal for the case agent to go directly to the elected DA about the case and to explain to him your theory of the case?
I believe that's fairly normal. I don't believe I went directly to him and said anything at that point between me and him.
Okay. So how did that meeting come about, the PowerPoint meeting?
You know, we checked our schedules and set a day to meet at the Jackson Field office. I prepared the PowerPoint and we set it up on a day we could be there.
Okay. And you laid out all your thinking and theories as to why Terry Britt was, in your mind, the person responsible for this crime at that meeting.
Not all of them, all the reasons that I felt could have been used in court. Some of the things I knew about him wouldn't have been able to be used in court, but they certainly would have.
Did Beth Boswell agree with your assessment of the case?
You'd have to ask her. I don't. She did not promote prosecuting Terry Britt. That's for sure.
Did Hansel McAdams promote prosecuting Terry Britt?
No.
Did Mr. VanHooser?
No.
So you're removed from the case by Mr. VanHooser. Is it true that at that point you asked Mr. Johnny Walker to go talk to Terry Britt?
No. I had not been removed for the case at the time I asked him to go. I don't believe that's right.
Did you tell anyone at TBI that you were sending Mr. Johnny Walker to talk to Terry Britt?
No, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Terry Britt was at the time incarcerated?
Yes, sir.
And you sent, what exactly did you tell Mr. Johnny Walker to do?
To go talk to him, see what his interpretation is of him, see what he could find out.
So he goes and takes a statement from Terry Britt.
He wrote out a document after. He didn't actually write down word for word everything Britt said and had him sign it.
You're at this point seasoned law enforcement, right?
Yes, sir.
You're also a licensed attorney? At that
Yes,
point?
sir.
Okay. Whatever statement Terry Britt gave in that interview would never be admissible in court, correct?
No, that's not true at all.
Oh, hold on. We have a.
This objection is not, it's not a correct statement of law.
Okay, so he's giving him a chance to answer it, and he's answering.
Was he Mirandized?
He was Mirandized multiple times. And
Was he Mirandized that day?
I don't recall. I wasn't present to say that, but I would absolutely believe it would have been admissible in a court of law.
After you were removed from the case, you left TBI and went to private practice.
Yes, sir.
And down the road, when prosecution starts on the defendants, Mr. Adams and his co-defendants, at some point you are approached by the defense team, specifically Jennifer Thompson. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And included in that is Jennifer Thompson. I don't know if Jim Simmons contacted you as well.
If who?
Did Jim Simmons contact you as well?
I believe if that was Autry's attorney, he did. I spoke to him as well.
Did you have multiple meetings with Ms. Thompson's private investigator, a Mr. Danny Milliken?
I'm not sure if I had multiple meetings. I believe I met him for sure.
Okay. Do you know Mr. Danny Milliken?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Who was he to you when you met him?
I don't believe I'd ever met him prior to Ms. Thompson.
Did he come to your law office?
Yes, I believe so.
Did he come to your law office with Ms. Thompson?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay, and what did you discuss with them?
I discussed with them everything I knew about the abduction of Holly Bobo, the same way I've done with the state and anybody that's involved in this case. I will tell them anything I know to try to help get justice for her.
And throughout the case during the trial level, would it be fair to say that you were in regular contact with the defense team?
I wouldn't say regular. If they needed that they had a question, they would call me, but it wasn't regular, it was sporadic.
And they came by, either Jennifer Thompson or one of her agents through an investigator would come by and show you witness lists, correct?
I don't remember seeing a witness list.
Okay. Would they hand over discovery materials to you?
Yes.
Okay. What discovery materials did they hand over to you?
They gave me everything they thought. I'm sure they gave me everything they thought I needed to refresh my memory of what happened, so they could prepare.
What was it, in paper form or electronic form?
It was in. She gave me a like a hard drive that you could plug in and pull up different hours.
Did it appear to you to be the discovery that was provided by the state in this case? Many items being the IRs, interviews, just the complete case file on that digital hard drive?
I can't answer that, but it was hundreds and hundreds of different hours. And it wasn't in a systematic order that I recall, but it was a lot of information.
Did you review that material?
I didn't review all of it.
Oh, did she ask you to review specific material on that hard drive?
I don't recall.
But you did go through it?
I went through, yes. I went through and found what I definitely needed to read up to try to remember what happened and who I interviewed and dates and times and, you know, that sort of thing.
Okay. It's in the bulk. It's in the bulk items. Judge, can I have the witness-handed Exhibit 90, which I think was the collection of IRs? Sure. It's the bulky one with, I think, 3 or 4. That's right. Yeah. I know. I'd like to hand it to the witness. Thank you. Mr. Dicus, so you spoke about this packet of IRs on direct. These are a series of IRs that had you and others reviewing surveillance tapes collected on April 13th of 2011. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And just lay a basis for this. What general area were these surveillance videos taken from?
Generally, Parsons, Decatur County, Tennessee.
Okay. It would be fair to say that you and others did a sweep of local businesses to get any and all surveillance footage you could find during that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there a window that you were really zero in on that you wanted to look at? All those surveillance videos?
Yes. Yes,
what
sir.
was that window?
Well, probably about 7:45 was when Holly and her abductor were at the house until 9:25 is the last contact we have for her phone. So would really be interested in between 7:30 and say 10 o'clock. That would be prime window to try to figure out where somebody was.
And would it be fair to say that these IRs reflect that time period for when you're looking at the video, marking the vehicles that you see?
Yes, sir.
Because that's the window that you were focused on and you wanted to capture the data that you could from that time period?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could I draw your attention to IR 146?
Yes, sir, I have it.
Okay. This is the IR concerning the Community South bank video, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What view was this video taken from?
It says the ATM view of Long Avenue at the BP and BP at the intersection.
Okay. So, and obviously that's, the ATM view is on the face of this IR, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I want to move on to another IR. Judge, I'd like to hand this to the witness and one for you.
She's good, Nani.
Done with that. Is it? Judge, actually, could Exhibit 17 be handed to the witness? And Judge, you need a copy.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, just easier.
Just hand in yours, and
Yeah.
you'll just note that it's the same as Exhibit 17. You don't have to look that close.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Dicus, this is a IR, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it may, I want you to turn to page 2.
Yes, sir.
Under video, I think it has numbered 41 through 45, a different video.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I want to draw your attention to 48.
Yes, sir.
Could you read what that says?
It says V8-BP/Com South Bank ATM, April 2011.
Okay. Is that referring to the video collected as in IR 140 that I was just talking to you about?
It appears to be.
Is he gonna make some type of argument that the defense was aware of this IR? Because that doesn't make sense. We know that the defense was aware of something because they kept asking for it. And they wanted it to be accessible.
Yes, sir.
So it has BP, but it also has the label Community South Bank ATM, correct?
Correct. I believe this was done after I left, though.
Correct. But generally, is it your belief that that is referencing the video? Do you know of any other videos taken from Community South Bank in April of 2011?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Move on from there.
All right, redirect.
Yeah, sure. I want to circle back to your interactions with the defense team.
never mind.
You reviewed discovery at their request?
Actually, I requested to have some discovery to be a better witness about what happened.
After reviewing that discovery, did you have an opportunity to meet with Jennifer Thompson or any of the defense team prior to your testimony at trial?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that that included trial prep for you as a witness?
You could call it that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you tell the court about that what was discussed, what topics were going over with you about what your testimony was going to be?
Well, she wanted to make sure she understood everything that I remembered about Terry Britt and him as a suspect. So that was the main part, and as well as the information on that we developed while I was with the TBI about the ones that have been charged.
Because this trial was interesting. I want to ask you that. Going into the trial, it's almost like there's a house divided amongst law enforcement about the theory of the case. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
About who was responsible for these crimes. Zach Adams or Terry Britt?
When I left, Zach Adams was not on the radar.
We'll get back to that. But going into the trial and working with Jennifer Thompson, would it be fair to say that the trial strategy and your part in this trial was to advance the alternate theory that Terry Britt was responsible?
My part was to tell the truth.
And you were called by Jennifer Thompson as defense witness?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified to your involvement with this case from the start and where your investigation led and your beliefs about the conclusions you drew from this case, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And others that have had a similar belief testified for the defense?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. Who else? Art Vivros, for instance. He testified in the defense. Is that right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. Was it your understanding that Mr. Vivros also believed in that Terry Britt was responsible?
I do.
Fair to say that Johnny Walker believed that as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're suppressed at the time, but I'm sure you've watched the entire trial after the fact.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're aware that Terry Britt actually testified during this trial?
Yes, sir.
I hate that you've watched the entire trial after the fact, but the available clips on YouTube are not full. There's chunks missing. I think like every day that we've streamed, there's been something like cut and jumped. So not technically full trial available online.
Okay. So Jennifer Thompson had Terry Britt, yourself, Art Vivros, Johnny Walker, all testify to that Terry Britt theory that he was responsible for these crimes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the jury heard that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ultimately, Mr. Zach Adams was convicted as charged.
Yes, sir.
After the conviction, there was although kind of not for a few years, a motion for new trial. Is that right?
I'm not personally aware of it, but I'm sure there was one filed.
Well, you had some involvement with that motion for new trial. Is that right?
I'm not sure I did. I have not had very much involvement since Zach's trial.
Is it true that you signed a detailed affidavit and had that filed as part of the motion for new trial?
That was right after I watched the trial and listened to Jason Autry's testimony.
Okay, so to be fair, that the affidavit was created by you somewhat soon after the trial.
That's correct.
Okay, but because of the delays in the transcript, or that the motion for new trial did not happen for 2 or 3 years after the trial.
That's fair.
Are
Yes,
you
sir.
fair? Are you aware that affidavit which is used by Jennifer Thompson as a grounds for asking for new trial?
No, I'm not aware of that. I don't know what it was used for.
You didn't testify at the motion for new trial?
No, sir, I did not.
I want to talk about your testimony at trial. General Hagerman asked you a series of questions about clearing the defendants in this case.
Yes, sir.
And is it your testimony today that you did indeed clear Zach Adams?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shane Austin?
Yes, sir.
Dylan Adams?
Yes, sir.
And Jason Autry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. going back to the beginning, you were the case agent, which means what?
It means I had primary responsibility. Generally, the way a homicide at that time was handled, there would be one case agent who covers 2 to 3 counties, and any murder that comes up in their county, there would be the case agent over it, and they would work it with local law enforcement.
Even though you cleared these individuals, their names kept on coming up time and time again during the investigation. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And people, other agencies approached you about these individuals and asked you to specifically look into them as being responsible.
Well, they were cleared at least 3 different times that I remember. The first time I had nothing to do with it. Agents with the TBI, FBI, Highway Patrol went out and investigated them, and they cleared it, and they came back and told me that they'd been cleared. So I did not get into that until where you say you need to look at these people. So I went back and looked at all these people after someone else had already investigated them.
Who is it Brian Allen?
Brian
Allen?
Yes, Brian.
Who is Mr. Allen?
He was an investigator with the Benton County Sheriff's Department, I believe.
Okay. Had you had a professional relationship with him for a long time as
Yes,
a
sir.
TBI agent?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he one of the individuals that came to you asking you to look at Zach Adams and the other co-defendants?
It's possible. I spoke to Zach Adams in Benton County, so that's where Bryant worked. So it's possible, yes.
Did he come to you repeatedly asking you to look into Zach Adams?
I don't remember repeatedly. I remember the one time that I went up there to Benton County and looked into it again. Again, you know, he was looked at and cleared 3 different times.
And you said a few moments ago that cleared 3 separate times, but one of those times that was you're taking that on someone else clearing them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you in fact got involved with clearing them, did you pull all their previous statements and see what their statements had to law enforcement had been from the beginning of this investigation until you started pulling the IRs?
I believe I reviewed everything regarding them multiple times, yes.
Okay. And did you find the statements consistent?
I don't recall. I don't recall finding inconsistencies.
And stand to reason that you cleared them because they were consistent.
I cleared them because we had a witness that perfectly described the abductor, and none of these people matched. Their phones were never where Holly's phone was. They were together, you know, they were in different places than when Holly was. I mean, that's how they were cleared.
My question is to the statements they gave to law enforcement. Did you cross-check those statements to see that they were providing law enforcement with accurate information as to their whereabouts?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On multiple occasions, I checked Zach Adams' alibi. His alibi told me that at 9:30, when she left their house, Zach and Dylan were still in bed asleep. She had to be at work at 10 o'clock. So it's a 15 or 20-minute drive. So she left while he was still in bed, and she was absolutely positive that he had not left anywhere. So Holly's phone was moving until 9:25. So if he's asleep until 9:30, the entire abduction has started and finished before he's woke up.
What was your understanding of Zach and Shane's alibi? They provided you.
Yes. They got up that morning. When they woke up, they contacted each other, decided to go get some Xanax and get messed up. They purchased gas at one place I believe the one that's north of the interstate. Put like $5 in gas just to get it into Parsons because it's really expensive there. And then they got into Parsons. They bought more gas. They may have went by a drive-through by Sonic or something, and then they went and purchased $100 worth of Xanax. Got messed up.
Judge, I would like to have the witness provided with Exhibit 78. I just want to double check that's the one. You can, Judge, you have a copy? Mr. Dicus, could you take a look at this IR and
Yes, sir.
tell me if you recognize it? This is a statement that was taken from Shane Austin on what date?
It says April 17th of 2011.
Okay, and that is 4 days?
Yes, sir. 4 days after the abduction.
In this statement, where does Shane Austin say he was on the day of the abduction?
He says he did not know. He may have went fishing that day.
He didn't mention doing Xanax, did he?
He advised that he worked at the adult bookstore. He did not go to work that day.
Could you read the last line of the second paragraph?
Yes. Austin stated that on Wednesday, April 13th, 2011, he woke up at home, straightened up the house, and may have gone fishing.
So that's 4 days after the abduction?
Yes, sir.
Fast forward to July. You personally interviewed Zach, Adams, and Shane Austin. Is that right?
I believe so. I believe it was in July. Around July 4th or July 5th, I believe.
And from your memory, is that when they gave you this alibi that they were together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You would agree with me that the statement that Shane Austin gave 4 days after the abduction is not the same statement or version of events that he gave you in July?
That's correct.
Okay. When you're clearing someone for an alibi, I would think that's a problem. Would you feel like that was a problem if there's an inconsistency to that magnitude?
Yes.
All right, want to pause real quick just so anyone that isn't reading the chat or if you're on replay crew will make sure we get this heard. Iceman was kind enough to let us know that Terry Dicus filed an amicus brief. I think, was this for direct appeal? I'm assuming for the direct appeal. But the trial judge, which was still Creed McKinley, denied it and dropped a link here. So the link is currently in the chat if you're watching. I'm going to add it to the stream description for our friends on the replay crew. And I have not read this, but I am excited. Very excited. According to Iceman, it's more compelling, shows Jason Autry's testimony is factually impossible. So thank you. Like, the amount of resources coming together in the last 2 weeks from you guys has been awesome. I love, like, I sit up at like midnight on my phone reading through these documents. Like, I'm living, breathing, eating, sleeping, everything about this trial that I can. So I appreciate that you guys are making it easy to get the information. Really, really appreciate it. Where did I put the stream? Okay, here it is. We're back. We're back.
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
Well, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for inconsistencies in a statement. Obviously, most people don't lie if they don't have a reason not to lie. They don't have a reason to tell the truth.
Because we have versions that sometimes could differ in detail
Yes,
about
sir.
what happened one day. But would you agree with me that that is a gigantic difference between what he says in April and what he says in July?
I mean, he said he may have went fishing. I don't know. This was
He doesn't say he's with Zach Adams.
If I had conducted both interviews, I could agree with you 100%, but I didn't. So I don't know exactly what was said. If he's sitting there saying, "Man, I don't know. I may have went fishing. It's hard to remember what I went that day," then that's different than if he says, "Well, I definitely went fishing that day, and no, there's no possibility that I did anything different." So those are two different. But I wasn't present for that interview, and I didn't write it, so I don't know.
But you were case agent.
I was the case agent, yes, sir.
And your name's on the IR for reviewing it and entering it into, is it I&E?
Yes, sir. And, yes. In ISIS.
Which is, do you have an exhibit? The draft hour?
94.
Judge, could Mr. Dicus be handed exhibit 94, please?
You have a copy of it?
Mr. Dicus, what did you call, I said I&E, what did you call it, the system?
ISIS.
ISIS. Is that the system that TBI agents use to submit IRs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This was not submitted to that system, is that right?
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd have to check the system.
How does one submit an IR to that system?
So we would have basically a sheet that documents every hour you're turning in, and you would have a description of the hour. So on this one, I would have said IL, which is investigative lead, tower analysis, Autry, Austin, and Adams. I would have put that in there. So when I turned it in, the secretary would have known that the disk had a report related to that, and then she would have pulled up all this information, submitted into the system.
Did you submit this document to be entered into the system?
I certainly thought I did, but I don't recall specifically submitting it to the system. But it has everything that you would typically put into this is handed in, and this is it to go into the system. But no, I don't recall it. I don't recall submitting.
Did you have cell phone data in hand during your time as case agent for Jason Autry and Zach Adams?
Yes, sir. I believe. Okay. Yes, sir.
And had Mike Frizzell looked at that data during your time as case agent?
Yes, sir. He was one of the people that told me they were not at the same place that Holly was.
Okay. And you've watched the trial and Mike Frizzell's testimony at trial, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're aware at trial that Mike Frizzell's testimony is that Jason Autry and Zach Adams' cell phones were pinging off of Birdsong Tower at a certain time that morning, around 10 o'clock a.m. Does that sound?
That's believable, yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe that's about right.
Did you have that information when you were a case agent?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't
Is it
remember.
fair to say that maybe the analysis of that data was done more in depth after you left the case?
That's possible. Yes, sir.
Preparing for trial, that data was sorted out and fine-tuned for...
Yeah, of course. That would make sense.
And like was talked about trial, there is a point where your knowledge stops in this case.
That's correct.
Because it continued on, focused on these defendants, and you were not involved with that.
That is true.
Mr. Dicus, I want to go through the other co-defendants and you clearing them. Let's talk about Jason Autry.
Yes, sir.
That it's your testimony that you cleared Mr. Autry. Isn't it true that, and you testified to trial at this, that you found out that the information that you had was incorrect on that?
Jason Autry, he was mainly cleared because his physical description was so different than what we were working off of. He's at least 6'5", 6'6", much taller than the abductor.
His alibi originally was that he was working that day on a farm, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you go and talk to his employer to verify that alibi?
When I got it, I believe I called his boss and asked him about it, and he confirmed that he was there that day.
Okay. Did you reduce that to an IR?
I did. I put an investigative report together dealing with everything, all these individuals that I spoke to.
Okay. And was that individual Mike Douglas?
That sounds familiar. Yes, sir.
And did you later learn that Mike Douglas had pay records showing that Jason Autry had not worked that day?
No, I was not aware of that.
Did you talk to any co-workers of Jason Autry that had worked with him supposedly that day?
No, sir.
Let's talk about Zach's statements. That one of the earliest statements that Zach Adams gave was to the FBI agent Ross. Is that right?
I would have to review it to remember that. I don't believe I took part in that interview.
While they're shuffling papers, and thank you again, Iceman, for having it ready, Slim Life did not hear the rehearse verse repeat word slip from Jason Autry's 2017 testimony. So because we have a quick timestamp shared here from Iceman, we're going to run that back for anyone that missed it.
Natalie Bobo left me with the impression that the victim would
I testified that I didn't know exactly word for word, but what I could remember of the conversation. As I told you before, I couldn't rehearse word for word. You asked me that I can't.
Okay.
It's very much giving vibes like this guy who prepped before a recent jailhouse assault trial that we watched. One of my favorite clips of a witness being asked how they even knew what to say that day.
And you said it's been so long since you saw the video.
No, I just seen a video the other day.
Who showed you the video?
Prosecuting attorney. That's how I know what to say today, because I just saying what I got on camera. That's the only thing I did.
I got you.
So, remember, Jason Autry had his discovery folder available to him. But yeah, rehearse is a very different word than repeat. Like, it's one thing to say, I'm repeating what I already told you. That doesn't mean you're trying to make it up and get your story straight necessarily. But why would you rehearse the truth? Why would you rehearse the truth? So there was that. Yeah. A very inconvenient slip up. Good to see you, Derek. And thank you also for sending a super sticker in. Big thank you, Derek. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled program, but a great clip from this trial. This weekend, you guys, I have to get some work done for day job work. You know, holidays are over. I got to get caught up on some things. And I am determined, though, to pull some clips from this trial. I really wish more people were paying attention to this trial. You know, I think YSL, Karen Reid, a lot of people opened their eyes to the corruption that was going on. The difference with those trials is, for the most part, we had acquittals, right? Karen Reid had the OUI conviction, and Shannon Stillwell had the conviction on the one count at the verdict for YSL. But here we have Zach Adams doing a life plus 50 and change sentence. And I think it's a total miscarriage of justice. I think its actual innocence is on the table. So not just unfair trial, but an actual innocence case. We've got Rick Allen being mentioned. Another one, I wish there were cameras in the court for that. Zachariah Anderson is mentioned a lot in relation to what we're seeing going on in this case. So I do want to get smaller clips together, things that make it more digestible for someone that's trying to figure out, you know, why is Kat? Why is Slim Life? Why is Shayna? Why is everybody talking about the Zachary Adams case? But, oh, it's too much for me to get into now. It's too late. So I am going to try to do smaller things like that and get people to start to drink from the fire hose. And, of course, recommend them to Trial and Error podcast, who I think lays it all out the best anyone can. But, yeah, clips like that will definitely make it into the roster that I think everybody needs to see. Because how do you beat someone on the stand saying they didn't have time to rehearse to remember what to say? The star witness. So, good times.
Pass this over to the witness.
Yes,
And the judge.
Objection to the censure, Mr. Vice.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Dicus, could you look over?
96, we'll mark this exhibit 96.
Which hour is it?
I have record.
19.
Yeah, thank you. knowledge of this statement by, taken from Zach Adams from Matt Ross and Annette Cotton? And if he's aware of
It
it?
appears in court that it wasn't filed until 2014.
That's correct. But I want to ask the witness if he was aware of it. Mr. Dicus, are you aware of this conversation, an interview that FBI agent Matt Ross and Annette Cotton had with Zach Adams?
I can't specifically say. I am aware that FBI agents and TBI agents interviewed all these gentlemen, but again, like Your Honor pointed out, it was 2014. I can't say that I've seen any of these documents.
The IR references a date of April 23rd, 2011.
Yes, sir.
Which, do you remember working with Matt Ross?
I don't remember Matt Ross, no, sir.
Okay. Had you,
Matt Ross is the one that did the photographs on April 23rd, I think.
had a conversation with anyone with the FBI about a interview with Zach Adams where they took photos of his appearance?
Yes, sir. That does sound familiar. I believe that. I remember that.
And are you aware that they took photographs of his arms?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've seen those pictures?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's scratches visible running down his arms.
Yes, sir.
In those photos, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, I would like to have that marked for identification.
I think I entered it. No
Okay.
one objects.
Okay, no objection then, yeah,
It's
okay.
Exhibit 96.
And yes, let's read Derek's comment here. Derek says, that witness who slipped up, is that not the same witness the judge said was some of the most truthful testimony he's ever heard? That's the same one. That's the same one, Derek. Oh. Good times.
Can I have, let's have the witness have this. A copy to the court, Jake.
That's for the judge.
Objection, censure, Mr. Bates.
Was that the, I'm unclear what that document is.
It's an IR 1650. I'll let him explain that.
Okay.
You will have a copy.
Judge, do you recognize this RF?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is a instance where you had, you interviewed Zach Adams, right?
Yes, sir.
And you went down to the Decatur County jail to speak with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And originally, Investigator Tim Cunningham and Investigator Miggs were going down to talk to Zach Adams. Is
Yes,
that right?
sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you somehow got looped in on the interview, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was this a substantive interview with Zach Adams?
What do you mean substantive?
I mean, did you go through a long form interview and ask him about what information he had to say about this case?
No, I believe I don't recall exactly what we said on that day. No, I remember talking to him, but as far as, it doesn't appear that, yeah, I can't remember everything that was said. What the information was that brought me back to him, I just can't recall. It says it's something about a leather coat. Somebody has, that he was talking about Shane Austin. Zach was trying to give information to help us convict Shane Austin, which is one of the co-defendants, and he volunteered that Shane had a leather coat, and he was acting really strange about it.
But this started off with Zach Adams saying that he had information as to where Holly Bobo was, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what it was that brought us there. That very well could have been that Zach is contacting us, wanting to tell on Shane Austin.
Let's talk about there was substantial evidence that came in at trial other than regarding, for instance, admissions that Zach Adams made to other people about his involvement in this crime, correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay. And there is also evidence introduced by the state about cell phone location when Holly went missing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the gun was recovered in this case, and that evidence was put before the jury.
I believe a gun was recovered, yes.
That the jury heard the state's version and Jennifer Thompson's version of what they believe happened here, and the jury decided that Zach Adams was in fact guilty of these crimes, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Judge, I pass the witness.
Mr. Bates, now,
Redirect.
okay with moving that, this last IR and
Hey,
all right, this is exhibit 97. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you.
Redirect, Mr. Bates.
Mr. Dicus, you watched the trial, or have you since gone back and watched the trial?
I watched it immediately after the trial, but I haven't seen it in however long it's been, 5 years.
Okay. You heard General Nichols look to the jury about the .32 revolver and say, and what are the odds? The .32 revolver's found. Were you aware 5 days before that Victor Dinsmore said it was a .38 revolver with a .357 interchangeable barrel?
No, sir. I wasn't aware at that time.
That Jason Autry said it was a .357.
I don't recall if I heard that or not.
Why did that not come in?
I don't know. I can't answer. I was gone when they found the gun they purported to be the gun.
Were you aware Victor Dinsmore said, I'm 100% certain I know my guns?
Yes, sir. He said that.
Is it the job of the defense attorney to bring these issues to the jury?
Yes, sir.
Did Ms. Thompson do that?
I'm not sure. I don't believe so. I don't know.
What about when Ms. General Nichols said a .380 is excluded because the defect is a .36? Were you aware that's a false statement?
No, sir.
Your Honor, that is a mischaracterization of the context of that statement and the relevance to this witness. Objection is that's a misstatement and it's irrelevant.
I'll rephrase.
All right.
Did
I'll
you,
sustain the objection.
did you watch the closing arguments of General Nichols?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear her say the .380, a .38 is excluded?
No, sir.
Okay, very well. Did Mr. Britt ever voluntarily agree for his property to be searched?
No, sir.
Did Shane Austin?
Yes.
Did Mr. Adams ever refute or object to being questioned?
No, sir.
Is it your general practice in law enforcement when drug addicts talk to you, law enforcement, they talk about their drug activity?
It depends. Sometimes they would try to hide something like that.
You were trained as a CBI officer in observing demeanors of when you're talking to witnesses.
Yes, sir.
And how was the demeanor of Zach, Shane, and Jason when you talked with them?
I never got any sense of that they were trying to hide something specifically about Zach until I asked him about the comments that he was making. You'll end up in a hole like Holly. Then he got really defensive and his voice went up an octave. You know, that I felt as though there was a chance he wasn't being truthful about that he was making comments to people to act big, to act bad, to puff himself up.
One second, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Dicus, for your testimony today.
You're welcome.
Follow-up question? Mr. Dicus, thank you for your testimony, sir. You've submitted.
Thank you.
Oh. Alrighty, so there we go. Shout out to Trial and Error Podcast for having that footage. Let me link them again. Their link, of course, is also in the description. They said they're also going to be uploading more from Dennis Benjamin, more on Dennis Benjamin today. So make sure you have your alert bell on for them, because I think all of us, if we're watching this, you probably also want to watch that. And remember, to do that, you want to click this little subscribe thing, and you want to hit that all notifications, because if you do personalized, I feel like YouTube doesn't really actually give you notifications all that often. It just picks and chooses. So make sure you're subscribing to them and hit that notification. So that link is now fresh in the chat. We're going to close this stream, and I have another one scheduled to fire up in 20 minutes. It's scheduled for 12:30 Eastern for us to watch day 9. That's going to be the last day of the 2017 trial. And of course, we'll be able to squeeze in the verdict reading. I believe Clint Bobo spoke at sentencing. So if you want to watch all of that, we can squeeze that in today. And that will wrap up the 2017 trial. We did watch the first day 9 witness at the end of yesterday's stream. So if you missed that and want to catch Marshal John Walker and the fight to disqualify him as an expert, which succeeded, go check that out from yesterday's stream. But other than that, 20 minutes, take a break, get some coffee, get some snacks, get rejuvenated. This should redirect you over there, but if you want to go do something else and come back, just go hit the live tab on my channel and you'll be able to see us live. So, actually, great idea, Iceman. I actually will try to contact Terry Dicus to get a copy of his book. That is like something I should have thought of on my own, but you know, the brain doesn't work well all the time with all things. So, see you guys soon. See ya 20 minutes, you guys.